This the story of crypto blood and truth blitz. Ask them a cliff high what the truth is. They was just talking about the blockchain. That's when they heard Janet yelling and the cops came. They said give me all your Bitcoin and lock aim. Then Jamie Dimon showed up and the shots rained. So they hopped in the Lambo and took off fast. Welcome to the Block Party Podcast.
So yes, speaking of, I'm sorry, speaking of the manipulation, I guess we can kind of go into that topic.
Yeah.
I'm of the camp that thinks that it may be manipulated, but manipulated by the people who are already in the space, the whales that were already here, that have a huge chunks of crypto they've accumulated. Yeah, they manipulate the price. It's a free market. This is what a free market looks like. Without
I'd say yes and no.
Okay.
I would say that because of the coordination of this one. I mean, it involved not only bringing the price of Bitcoin up from $6,000 to $20,000 from mid-November to mid-December. That was the first part of this manipulation. This was highly planned. And then the timing of the Mt. Gox trustee sales.
Okay, yeah. So that part, I will agree. I think the Mt. Gox trustee thing was done very badly. It was executed.
It was perfectly executed if you're trying to rig the price lower.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It was no reason why he should be liquidating over in an exchange and not over the counter.
Right. But then
I agree with you there.
But look what happened then. So you got the price rise for kind of unknown reasons. You got the timed sales of the Mt. Gox trustees, and then right after that was done, you've got all the banks saying, "Oh, we're no longer allow you to use credit cards to buy cryptos." That was another downturn. And then right after that, you had social media, one after the other, not all at the same time, but delayed by a week. Facebook and Twitter and YouTube saying we're not going to allow ads of cryptocurrencies.
But also China as well. The FUD.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
China was part of it.
You don't think that was just like a correlation thing?
No,
I mean, the news is going to happen anyway, right?
I've been analyzing the way the people who run our monetary system, how they rig the markets for so long, going back before the big silver massacre in 2011, going back to natural gas, because that was my job back then, was to understand the commodities and how the manipulations work. And they all kind of work the same. They drive the price up, and then they have a long string of planned out FUD over time. And this, I think we're nearing the end now. And the end of this manipulation was, let's get the IRS was part of it too, when they said, okay, we're really going to come down this year on the cryptos. We're going to say everybody, we're not going to give them any rules, but we're going to say you have to pay your taxes. And we're going to make Coinbase give everybody, notices that they're in trouble. And all this was planned because they wanted to get all this money out of people. They want people to sell their cryptos going into tax season. And then literally today was pretty much, or yesterday or the day before was the last day you could really sell and get your money transferred over to your bank account to pay your taxes. So when does the jump in cryptos happen? Just when people are paying their taxes. All the crypto people have no cash in their pocket because they paid their crypto taxes, and now they're letting it run up. I do think it is all part of a coordinated attack and event. And that Congressman Brad Sherman saying that cryptos is a crock. That guy was he's not stupid. He did it for a reason and on purpose.
Yeah.
And he's
I've seen these crashes 4 or 5 times now, and I guess I'm just like, well, these players weren't in there then. So my whole thing is like, yeah, I mean, manipulation, yeah, but I don't see the whole, the bad guys kind of theme that you're running with, and that's cool. I don't know, we'll never know probably fully with 100%.
We could. All we got to do is go to that guy Kobayashi, the trustee of Mt. Gox, and do a subpoena and say, give me all your emails and phone conversations. Who were you talking to? Because I mean, that one is. I agree with you on that part. Yeah. That one for sure. And why did Mt. Gox take 5 years to get to this point. And there's
Mm-hmm.
so many things about the Mt. Gox bankruptcy that just reeks of the powers that be manipulating it. I've been doing this so long in the financial industry; it's so obvious to see. And bringing it over into the cryptos. I mean, wasn't everybody saying in November when the COMEX futures and options contracts came out, everybody said, "Oh, great, the big money's coming in." Well, this is what the big money looks like.
Yeah.
Big money comes in and they whipsaw prices because they make money going up and down. So
right, and I watched the X22 report interview the other night with Gorilla B and a bunch of other guys, Frank and Crypto Cowboy, and
that's the trader group, right?
Yeah, and they talked a lot about that, and that's kind of been the theory that I've had for a while. And me and Crypto Blood agree on a lot, but that's probably the one thing we really don't agree on is the level of manipulation in this space. And I have a more cynical way of thinking, I guess, and it's just they do it with just about every other market. Why wouldn't they do it here? But the beautiful thing about this is it's not as easy for them to control it. They can't fully control it.
Right. Yeah, that is true. Like, you can't have, when you're buying crypto, you're buying almost like it's spot, right, Bix? So you're buying actual product. Not
if you leave it on the exchange.
Right. Well, not if you leave it on the exchange, right? But I'm saying aside from that, you're buying in conceptually, you're buying the actual Bitcoin. You're right. If it's on the exchange, you leave it there, then they rehypothecate. But other than that, you're kind of buying it. So they have to bid it up to actually get in the market, and then they can sell off if they would like. But to no real benefit other than to just scare the weak people out, maybe.
Well, I think if you combine it with the sales of physical, with the FUD, with all the other stuff, it's harder. You're absolutely right. It's much harder to manipulate. With silver, all you got to do is sell some electronic contracts and dump a billion ounces on the market with a click of a mouse. The futures and options in Bitcoin isn't that big, so no, they can't do the same thing. But
it'll come though. I think it'll come. That futures, the whole.
I don't think so. I think cryptos are the solution. I think before it comes to cryptos, it's going to crash in the old system. Deutsche Bank goes down, you can kiss the COMEX and the LBMA goodbye. They're the largest derivative holders, and they're the biggest manipulators in the metals as well. So they're kind of the mark of the beast type of company that if they go down, which, if they are getting downgraded, it's not going to look good for them over the next few months. Then because those exchanges need to go away. And then we need to invent a crypto solution. Vertasium obviously is standing in the right place at the right time for that one. So we'll see what happens, but the future is not going to involve the criminal aspects that we've had for the last 100 years.
And that's another thing that Crypto Blood and I talked about the other night was when that crash happens. I feel that people are going to go to crypto as a safe harbor, along with people are going to go to gold and silver as well. And he thinks, go ahead and tell him what you think.
So my position on it, Bix, and let me know what you think. I think that initially you will see a flight to safety, the traditional flight to safety, which is dollar.
The bonds.
Treasury, right.
Yeah, so, we've already seen that kind of.
Right. So you'll see initially a flight to cash. And then once they kind of figure out what to do, then they'll start spilling into the crypto space. I don't think right away, because I was telling Nick this over the phone the other night. I said, man, think about it. If we had another 2008, right? You're in crypto, I'm in crypto. Your wife gets laid off. There's massive layoffs. We're going to be liquidating our crypto, a little bit of it, not all of it, but a little bit to cover what's going on in the real world. You know what I mean? I think that would be the first reaction, knee-jerk reaction, and then we'll spill over into the cryptos. What are your thoughts? What do you think the scenario will be if we say tomorrow or you know how they do, Bix. Over the weekend, they bring out this news, and Deutsche Bank is not opening for deposits next week or withdrawals. What is your scenario for how that plays out with the crypto?
Well, I would say the options are, one, the bailout like happened in 2008. That's an option.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it'll fly because everybody's angry at the bankers and everybody's in debt. If Deutsche Bank goes down, all our debt goes away, which everybody would kind of be cheering for anyway. But I don't see anything trading. So it'd be a problem if there's a banking collapse. You know, the crypto exchanges are not run by Bitcoin and Litecoin and things like that. They pay their salaries in cash,
right?
In fiat money. So they would all shut down. So there wouldn't be any trading going on. So how would you know prices? And you run the scenarios, and the failure of a too big to fail bank is the destruction of all trading economic systems. And then you got to reboot. Right. And it's all going to come down to the reboot. Who are you going to trust? Are you going to trust the same people that screwed up our system last time? I don't think so. Mm-hmm. I think the cryptos will be standing there saying, hey, why not give us a try at this moment in time when you have to make a decision? And it has to be a fast decision too, because if everybody loses everything they have in the back fiat backed system, the unbacked fiat money system, you're not going to have money at your ATMs, and you literally got to make it happen within a week. Mm-hmm, but no one's going to trust the bankers. They're not going to give the bankers a bailout, and they've actually structured the Dodd-Frank law such that they have to bail out the derivative holders before they bail out savings accounts and checking accounts. And it's a crazy thing, and everybody was jumping up and down when they stuck that in the last second. But I think it's That's best
how
thing.
They do it.
It's the best thing because it will literally require the collapse of the banking system, because no one is going to allow Congress to vote to give the bankers money before the people. So it is literally, it is guaranteeing that there will be no banker bailout this time. So I actually loved it when I saw that. I'm like, this is great, because this assures that these criminals will be hung out to dry in the next crash.
That's what we need, for sure.
Yeah.
But it'll be chaotic. You won't know the price of your cryptos either, because there won't be exchanges flowing. So and it won't be priced in dollars probably after a too big to fail bank goes. And there's just so many. But what I really
think about,
what I think will happen though is a kind of a staggered collapse of the old system, and that will allow the big money to really flow into the cryptos, because everybody will see the collapse of the old system happening in real time, and you're going to just see floods of money coming into the cryptos. Is the way I think it should go, because that would also bolster the crypto economy and put more money in the system so that we can create more solutions for the dying old system.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good. I like that. What about? Let's move on to ICOs. That's been a hot topic for 2017.
Centra,
man. Luckily I caught that a few weeks before the news, man. It was
Did
the
you
whole.
have any, Bix? Did you have any Centra?
I bought Centra on the ICO, and then almost immediately everybody was saying, "Oh my God, this isn't the picture of the guy," and they're lying about all this stuff. And I got it and I sold it almost immediately. Okay. I lost a bunch of money. Not a bunch. I didn't go in big or anything. And it was,
but percentage-wise, you lost.
Yeah, you never want to lose 50% of what you invest in a matter of hours, literally.
Right.
But yeah, they it's interesting that the SEC came out and with these charges at this point in time. The biggest problem with those freaking regulators is they refuse to put down any laws related to cryptos, but they expect to enforce laws that they have.
Right.
It is completely ridiculous. Centra should win in court because there are no crypto laws on the books, and they're calling it a security when they said they weren't a security. There's no boundaries around the cryptos as to what is a security, what's a commodity, what is a currency, and what is a hobby. It's ridiculous what they're trying to do, but I think they're doing it on purpose to cause that chaos.
Yeah, I agree. I was talking to at the Cigar Lounge. There's a very well-known lawyer that I told him about the Centra situation. I sent him the SEC letter. I'm not going to say what lawyer this is, but very well known here in Michigan. He looked at it, and I said, hey, what do you think? You know, what type of charges are they looking at? He's like, well, see, with these types of crimes, it's based on the dollar amount. So he said if they're charging them on the 32 million, they're looking at upwards of 20 years. If they get charged on the full 32 million, he said they probably won't be, but they're looking at some serious time. And I was just like, wow. I was in shock after seeing that, because I know I had a card, Bix. I used it for almost 3 months. That had issues. That I contacted support. They were working with the support, building their support team, all this stuff, man. And I saw that. It was kind of scary, because what I saw in the SEC statement was complete opposite of what I was actually experiencing.
Well, I think the SEC was really looking at the pre-ICO type of stuff.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
They came out and I mean, it was riddled with problems.
They did have problems. I will agree. And
they claimed they were great, and it was like, are they criminal or are they stupid? I would say they're on the stupid side.
Right.
But I think when they did ICO, it was right after the SEC ruled on the DAO as it being a security. So they basically, they were trying. I mean, they didn't mean to do it. They just saw dollar signs, but the SEC took it as, dude, you're going to go through with your ICO right at the moment after we ruled that it's a security. Are you insane? And then they nailed them for it.
Yeah.
Yep. Something told me to get out of that as soon as the news broke that the SEC was, hitting all these different companies with subpoenas. I said, I think I'm going to sell Centra. I just had a bad feeling, being in the U.S. and
so what do you think, to kind of piggyback off of that, Bix, what do you think of the current ICO climate in the U.S.? I've been a big I've been voicing my opinion about it. I would stay away from a lot of ICOs that are in the U.S. until we get clearer guidance. I just think they're so ambiguous with the guidance that anyone could be at risk for, getting slammed with a subpoena and even more.
That's what the SEC wants. SEC, there's a difference between the SEC and the CFTC. The SEC is literally working for the bankers. They are their job is to run cover for the unbacked fiat system and the rehypothecated exchanges. So they are criminal up to the yin yang. The CFTC not so much. They were just dumb, but now they're getting better. But I think with the SEC and I wouldn't invest in an ICO in the U.S. Unless they go through the proper hoops. Now, the ones that went off before the DAO ruling or whatever it was, I think those guys are fine, and I think the SEC has even said those ICOs that went off before don't have anything to worry about.
Oh, okay.
Unless they're criminal, unless they're doing something criminal. Right. And now there's just more hoops to go through to make sure you check all the boxes. But these guys at Centra were doing, I don't think it was criminal. I just think it was they were taking shortcuts, and I don't think they were really that smart. I think they saw dollar signs, chased after it no matter what.
Yeah, they were young, man. They're like in their late 20s, 27, 28.
Well, that's the other thing. They had an advisor. They had one of the guys was like a banker working for I think Wells Fargo or something with years of experience, and he brought the experience to the group. I don't know what happened to him, but he should go to jail with them.
Yeah,
I know he bailed early on that project.
Oh, okay.
So do you feel like pretty much, what would you say that ICOs are pretty much dead for non-accredited U.S. investors? No. I think if you're going to do an ICO, just don't do it in the U.S. The U.S. needs to change its policies because we don't want to fall behind on this one. This is too big.
It is.
This is the future of all economic systems in the world. So that's why there's been no real strict rules. The U.S. wants this to happen. The U.S. needs this to happen, and I think it would behoove, which is a great word. It would behoove the United States regulators to take the position, hey, we're going to help the cryptocurrencies. Kind of like Chris Giancarlo said, the head of the CFTC. Right. He really said, we're going to help the cryptocurrencies. We're going to help them innovate. We're going to, take out the bad actors, which is, Centra was a bad actor. I don't think they tried to do anything maliciously. I think they were just dumb in the way they put together their ICO. And I know I lost money. I'll probably join any lawsuit that comes up on that one. But it really does. It gets to the point where the IRS and the SEC and the CFTC can't just start coming after companies and people when they're the ones who are withholding the rules and regulations. They're the ones who haven't stepped up to the plate and learned about this early on. So
I went ahead and just bought some more at a penny and a half. Just I was thinking Citra? Just to see maybe because it the SEC statement directly was going at those two individuals, not Centra per se. Huh. Yeah, so I'm like, maybe, I just threw a couple ETH at it to see what happens, man. But yeah, it's a sad situation, and like you said, I think the SEC is just using them as a poster child for what can happen. To scare. Right.
Which I don't think is good. I don't think we want to scare off the type of. The ICO way to raise money is revolutionary.
It is.
And it's good for the people. And it's get the regulators out of the business of telling people, what's safe and what's not safe.
That's what I say all the time.
If you can't figure it out yourself, you got a problem. And you shouldn't invest. But don't ask Big Brother to come in and hold your hand while this stuff is going on.
The nanny state. And that's what I say all the time. It's they say, well, we need to protect the investor. We need to protect the investor. I'm a big boy, I don't need protection from you.
We need protection from them.
Right, exactly. You know what I mean? So,
they don't protect you from going to the MGM Graham and
that's what I was gonna
gambling
say.
All your money away.
Right. They don't care. It's like they don't care if you go gamble it away or if you lottery tickets, casino, what have you. If I want to tear my money into confetti and throw it in the air, I should be able to do that. I don't need you to tell me what I can and can't do with my money. It's like,
but they work for the guys running the system, though. That's the problem.
Right.
They work for the Fed and the banksters, and they all work in cahoots together. So until we can get rid of that old system, we're going to be stuck with these regulators.
And it kills me because they say that's their mission statement is they need to protect the investor, but they're doing the exact opposite because of all these things are causing prices to drop and they're causing people to lose money. So it's
that's
funny.
The plan. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so let's talk about EOS really quickly. You sold all of your EOS. Kind of tell us a little bit about why, and we can kind of talk about that.
It is a big promise. It's a big promise to be faster and better, but it's untested. And the actual implementation, can it overtake Ethereum? In speed, yeah, but in safety, security, Ethereum had to go through all kinds of bullshit for the first few years of hacks and whacks and fracks and you name it. I think EOS will have the same thing. And there's something about EOS that I really don't like, and that's the way the ICO was structured.
I don't like that either. That's one thing I don't like either.
Well, and what they're doing now, which I think they are doing, is because Block 1 has all 10% or 12% or whatever it is of all the Ethereum tokens, they're selling Ethereum to buy EOS tokens. Is it anti-competitive? Maybe, but it can't last forever. But at the same time, it just, to me, it really stinks. And in Cliff's data, he has EOS failing in quite a few times this year once they get up and implemented. And then, if it fails once, who in their right mind would transfer over their business from, the smart contract scenario from Ethereum over to EOS if they're still working out kinks?
It's funny because 2 reports ago, his report sounded the EOS section, it sounded very good, like it had a bright future. And then I noticed the last report, it wasn't as it wasn't as it didn't have as much of a bullish tone to it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And I was wondering why.
for me,
I think you guys just don't like Dan Limmer's beady old eyes. He's got those little beady eyes of his.
I think Dan's a good guy. I think Steam It is his claim to fame, and
well, yeah, and I think that's why I'm such a supporter of it, is because I've seen and am using on a daily basis a working product, and they've had some bugs, some hiccups at Steam It. But he took that source code and ported it over. I mean,
this is completely different. You're gonna take the risk of running businesses on your platform. That's not exactly what Steam It is, kind of enclosed, and you can control that. But to me, I think right now there's so many great places to have my cryptos that are less risky. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that EOS isn't going to go moonshot. It already is, and I think it'll go much higher. I just don't want to be there kind of twiddling my thumbs, sitting on my earnings in EOS when
I hear you.
Something happens that I don't expect, when there's all these other places to hold my crypto.
Do you think there will be a run-up, though, before the token conversion?
Oh, absolutely. I think we're seeing it right now. And I think it'll continue until there's a hiccup.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think they have a lot of I'm also out of ETH. I'm trying to stay away from ETH because I think Block One is going to be selling all their ETH to destroy Ethereum, and then using that money to buy EOS tokens. So that's another reason.
I didn't even think about that part. I was thinking more so of staying out of ETH because of, quite frankly, its bandwidth is not capable of running enterprise type of.
But I think that's going to change. I think Vitalik's been working on that for a while, and I think the speed on ETH is going to increase dramatically. I think, at least that's in Cliff's data. He innovates his way. Once again, leapfrogs the competition. So.
Okay, because I remember the last I had heard, he had said, was it on with you, CB, when he said that
Lightning Network was going to fail? He said that the Lightning Network was going to fail.
On Bitcoin. He said on Bitcoin.
On Bitcoin, right? Not on Litecoin.
He said that something will come out. A smart contract platform will come out that'll learn from ETH's mistakes and be bigger than ETH, and then
I think that was Litecoin he was talking about. The smart contracts on.
I don't know.
He's saying, everybody's saying, well, Litecoin's supposed to explode to, like, Cliff has it at 1/5 the price of Bitcoin.
Right.
Bitcoin's 100,000, and they're saying that's because of the means of exchange, right? And he's like, no, it's something else related to a smart contract on the Lightning Network with Litecoin. So I don't know. I wish Cliff would come out and talk again.
Yeah. But what about all these companies you think that are actually starting, that just to finish up with EOS, that are starting on EOS? Like, there's companies that are opening up on EOS.
I think they're crazy to start in an untested forum. But if it works, that's great. Congratulations. Yeah. But right away, it's like, why risk your entire company on something that is untested?
I could see your point of view on that, and Cliff's. I could understand that for sure. If Ethereum's been here for a few years now, and it's been tested.
It wasn't easy in the beginning. They had all kinds of problems in the beginning.
Right.
But when I look at the risk reward type of stuff, there's just so many good ones out there that I did own EOS for quite a while. And I was thinking, I'd heard Cliff say that they're going to be struggles, but it's going to ultimately it'll be fine, but other competition will come in through Litecoin smart contracts using Lightning Network and through Ethereum improving. So I decided to say, I'd rather just stay away from the risk.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
That's what makes a market. Different opinions.
Right. Oh yeah, and if it works, if it works, it's going to be a freaking home run.
Yeah. Lightning Network and Litecoin is going to be something great too, I believe.
I hope so. I think so too. Yeah. Well, Charlie, I know, is knee deep with those guys because he went to MIT, right?
And
he's already running stuff, and I think Charlie is an interesting guy. I think he's holding a lot back on. I think he was told that we're going to have this pullback.
He got out right at the perfect time.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation we can have for another time.
Next time.
Next time.
But you saw. I meant to bring it up during an interview, but you saw that his tweet that he's, since Light Pay isn't happening, 10x is actually building a card for. Awesome. 10x is. He tweeted out the other day. 10x is actually basically building a Litecoin debit card.
Beat up so bad.
I know, and I haven't even looked at the price. I don't even own any anymore. But after hearing that,
it was the regulators.
See, I didn't.
It was the European regulators said no, we're not going to allow you to have this card,
and then U.S. too. Remember that was like shortly after the ICO, they had to exit out of the U.S.
No, they weren't going to. Only U.S. It was Canada. Well, yeah, U.S. that happened initially, but they're supposed to have it in Canada. I had a buddy in Canada that had his card on order, and he's like, I'll order you one with another address that I have, and I'll send it to you with your name on it. I was like, cool. And then they made the announcement they couldn't do anything in North America at all anymore.
But all that's going to change when, if the banks do struggle and start going down, this all opens up, and all these crazy regulations and barriers to entry that are put up on cryptos. People will see. I mean, the whole world, you can tell China and Russia and people around the world, countries around the world are getting ready for it. So once that floodgates opens, I mean, companies like 10x, all of a sudden, yes, the regulators are going to say, come on, come over to our country. It'll be the exact opposite of what's going on right now. So it's an exciting time, and
definitely,
I think that's what Cliff sees in his data is the kind of wobbling of the banking system, really getting countries on board and saying, hey, this is what we're going to use in the future.
Yeah, it seems like that with everything that's happening, it's a lot of countries seem like they're welcoming crypto, and then us, Absolutely. We seem like we're going to be the last to get on the boat.
We haven't passed any laws, and
that's true. Well, that's true. Just I guess the overall rhetoric and tone of everything, and the subpoenas and all this and that, and it just seems like
SEC's criminal. They're trying to.
They suck. Oh God, they suck.
Always have. Always.
Yeah.
Have.
So another topic, and you kind of touched on it, was Bitcoin taxes. So this is another area. This time the IRS very ambiguous about what we are supposed to be doing here. Do you see people complying with the IRS this year? I don't know if you had a chance to look at the article that Nick sent over, but it was out of Bitcoin.com.
I didn't send it over.
Oh, okay.
I forgot to send it over.
Okay.
But I do think, from what I'm hearing, people are complying to the best of their ability. Now, there's problems though. Like at Coinbase, the way they send out all their information, they're taking first in, first out. They're not. If you move it off of Coinbase, they call it a sale, which is ridiculous. And it's ridiculous. Like I take all my coins off Coinbase and put them in my own private wallet. So that's not a sale. That's not a taxable event. And there's just so many problems about what has happened in the past and what constitutes the like-kind exchange, and whether or not even the IRS can ever track down what really went on, or how does the IRS know when you say, okay, I had a computer implode and it had my wallet on it and it had 10 Bitcoin, and I'm writing that off against my gains. And they'll say, well, what's your computer number? Well, here's the computer, and this is the public key, but I don't have the private key because it imploded. So I'm going to write that off against all my gains. Now, how can they prove it? They can't.
No.
How can you prove it? You can say, this is my computer and this is my public address. And
but that doesn't even do anything, because really the record isn't even kept. It's not even kept really on your computer. It's just a copy that everyone else has. Yeah, so
I'm giving anybody's public address with 500 Bitcoin. Go find one of the whales and say, hey, this is
that's exactly it. That's exactly
so do you think this is a tactic for the IRS, the government, to make people show their card to
well, that's the thing. It's if you sell a crypto and you have money coming into your bank account from like Coinbase or something, that's pretty easy for them to track, to say, okay, we see that you sold $20,000 of some cryptocurrency because we have this Coinbase deposit into your account. You need to tell us what that, what are the parameters of that sale and what you bought it for and what you sold it for. And if you don't, then we're going to tax you on 100% of that and call it 100% gain of $20,000. And that's kind of all they can really do, I think. The other ways, I mean, are they going to, for every cup of coffee that Roger Ver has bought, are they going to look at and say, how many pennies do you owe us on this cup of coffee?
I mean, if you go by their rule book, yeah.
But they don't have a rule book. That's the other thing. We can go by what they say and how they say these are the laws that are on the books. Oh, by the way, we're going to apply them to all cryptocurrency transactions. It doesn't work that way. It can't work that way because, I mean, the Coinbase is not the only crypto exchange out there, is not the only wallet out there. Are they going to require every wallet around the world to divulge what their holders are doing? They don't even know the names and addresses of a lot of their holders. So it really does get to a situation where the IRS came out the end of last year and started jumping up and down, yelling and screaming and say, we're going to put everybody in jail because nobody's telling us about their crypto gains. Well, okay, jump up and down all you want. At the end of the day, the taxpayer is responsible for paying taxes on what the law is. So the IRS should come out with laws relating to cryptocurrencies and say, here's how we see cryptocurrencies specifically. And if you exchange Bitcoin for Bitcoin Cash, is that a like-kind exchange or is that not? And they're trying to take like-kind exchange out of the picture starting this year, I think. But there's and you ask your accountant, they have no clue of what a cryptocurrency even is.
No.
And then do you have to pay taxes on your tokens that you bought at Chuck E. Cheese? Because it's the same principle.
Yeah, right.
And it really does get down. And the reason the IRS hasn't, no laws have been written in this area, and they're trying to interpret like securities laws or commodities laws. They're not sure even which one they want to enforce against the cryptos, is because they're afraid of once they pass a law and say, okay, this is what a cryptocurrency needs to do, then all the tax lawyers around the world are saying, okay, this is how we get around that law. So if they keep it completely ambiguous, they can say, because you have a cryptocurrency, you should belong in jail.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess lastly, we can kind of wrap up today. And this has been a wonderful chat with you, Bix. What are your thoughts? We all saw what a great tool the Webbot report was in 2017 for all of us who are very big Cliff High fans. The accuracy was above 85% last year. This year, it's fallen off, and I just want to bounce the question off of you. What do you think is the reason for that? Do you think there is some manipulation by said agencies that are playing with his bots, or what are your thoughts? I just wanted to throw that out there and see what your thoughts were about 2018.
Well, I think definitely manipulation. If you look at the future is not set. I see the future as kind of there's a guideline of where we can maneuver. If the future was set, there'd be no reason to live life in general. It's already set. Why even go through it? But I do think there are certain parameters and guidelines that Cliff is tapping into about where our future will go. And manipulation has always been a problem with Cliff's data. Right. I look at the early silver days, and he's like $625, $680 silver.
Right.
But the manipulators keep coming back and coming back. So manipulation, I think, takes the guidelines of the future, how things are supposed to unfold, and rejiggers the time frames. So I do, and it's fairly clear to me that from mid-November until today, the manipulation is pretty obvious.
Right.
And obvious based on my analysis of what the banksters do in the gold and silver markets, in the oil and gas markets, even in the US dollar markets over the past 20 years of studying this stuff. And it's obvious that this is what is an orchestrated manipulation from various entities and large entities I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think what it did, if you look at it from mid-November till today, we're still up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Any other market would be real happy about that.
Yeah,
Right.
you're right.
But what it did is it destroyed a lot of the sentiment of especially the short-term guys saying, "Oh my God, I'm going to get rich tomorrow," or "I was so rich on December 15th and now I'm poor." And especially the leverage players got destroyed, obviously. So, where do I think it'll go? I think Cliff is still spot on for $100,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year.
Really? Okay.
Absolutely. Because it didn't. Nothing changed. Yeah, it was a big manipulation. It never should have gone up to 20,000. Cliff had 13,888 in February.
Right.
As a floor. It never should have gone up to 20, and it never should have got back down under 6,000 or wherever it actually bottomed out. So it's a complete aberration. But I do think we're kind of back on track, and we're back on track in that the good guys, as I call them, need Bitcoin to be available as a transition spot to go from this old, dying, crumbling, evil system to something new, something we can trust without trusting human beings. And that's what cryptos offer. So I do see a lot of the manipulation, I think, will be assisting us from here on out the rest of this year. And I think a lot of Cliff's predictions will come true, especially if we get a banking crisis.
That part for sure.
100,000 easy.
Yeah, easily.
Right.
Easily.
And that's what I had said too before. It's the sentiment has been destroyed. Well, taken down for pretty low levels.
It comes back so fast, though. It's
it does. It's already, you can see it already today. But I'm not too excited yet. But it's just I don't know. It's you've seen it how fast it went, and I think it's all part of the plan. That was all part of the plan. They want to, make everyone sell at a loss because they think it's going to zero, and that's in my opinion anyway. And I firmly believe that was the intent on them manipulating it. And I said the same thing about Cliff with the WebBot reports and how he had been wrong on silver, and it's because of the manipulation. And the same thing, like you said, he predicted, and I was going to say that he predicted 13,880 by the end of February, and and we didn't get there because it was, in my opinion,
blew by it.
We blew by it,
right.
Yeah, in November, December.
Right, exactly.
That's the big problem, and that's the problem I have is always on these manipulations. It's not necessarily that it goes down because markets go up and down. It's that gigantic push that they orchestrate right before a manipulation. It's that jump from 6,000 on November 15th to 20,000 on December 17th.
It's insane.
I hated that moment. I'm like, oh shit, here we go again. Because
I knew something was wrong. I knew something was up. Yep.
And it wasn't what was hyped on CNBC. Everybody jump in, and that was all part of the plan. And they were involved too. And it's one of those things. It wasn't the little guy. It wasn't. It was a gigantic manipulation up, and then a planned manipulation down, because that trustee was sitting there waiting and knew the exact time to sell at ever increasing amounts throughout in December and January. And the last one was I think it was February 5th, 18,000 Bitcoin, like 45% of the whole thing dumped.
Is there any more to be dumped? Do you know?
I think there is, isn't there? That's what I heard.
Okay, here's where that is. He sold basically 95% of the coins.
Okay.
He needed to sell to pay off the creditors. Why he didn't sell 100%? Because he wanted that hanging out there to say, oh, I can still sell. Now he still has, so he sold over, I think, 40,000 Bitcoin. He still has 160,000 Bitcoin. Now he says, well, it's up to the judge in the bankruptcy court. Well, bankruptcy court, supposedly all those coins go back to Mark Karpalus. And
he says he doesn't want them.
He says he doesn't want them because he would be murdered the day one. Obviously, he's going to say he doesn't want them. But they're not his. I mean, that's the thing about this ridiculous bankruptcy procedure. Yeah. They should have just given the Bitcoin back to the people who owned Bitcoin in Mt. Gox. This was the property being held by a third party. That's why I'm so adamant that people get out of the exchanges.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
They believe they own that property, but no, you bought it. That's your property, but there's that third party in between. So,
right.
No, I don't think they're gonna sell the remaining Bitcoin. I think they have to sell a little bit to pay off the rest of the creditors, but they're delaying it because they want this manipulation to drag on a little longer.
Right, and there's so many other reasons to not keep crypto on exchanges as well. You know, you saw what happened to Snip with his phone hack. They've been trying to do the same thing to me. I've been having all these really strange, and not to get too off topic, but I'm getting these really strange emails and messages trying to get my phone number, but having to do with crypto and just really strange stuff. And you know, if you're keeping your crypto on an exchange and you're new, get it off, figure it out, watch a video, figure out how to get it off an exchange, because it's just not worth it. You know, it could be as simple as a hack and getting your stuff stolen, or the whole exchange coming down and you losing everything that way.
They might as well just go back to the banking system, the old legacy system, if you're going to keep it in there. That's the whole point of, you know,
it's like people keeping their private keys in their safe deposit box. I'm like,
no, at the bank, right?
Or their hardware wallet.
Oh man. Well, there you have it, people. Bix Weir, Road to Ruta. Check out his website, roadtoruta.com. It's been a pleasure, Bix, and we really appreciate you coming on today. Hopefully to have you on again for sure. It was a great talk.
Definitely.
And that's pretty much it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us on the Block Party Podcast, episode number 9 with Bix Weir of Road to Ruta.
I was just talking about the blockchain. That's when they heard Janet yelling and the cops came. They said, give me all your Bitcoin and lock aim. Then Jamie Dimon showed up and the shots rained. So they hopped in the Lambo and took off fast. Welcome to the Block Party Podcast.